Welcome, Philip. Welcome, Smurf. Thanks for being here. Hey, David, welcome. No worries, Smurf. Like I say, the videos are all up, and if you want to, you want to. If you don't, you don't. I appreciate you being here anyway. We ended last live stream by clearing out the top floor of Wyrm's Rock Fortress and then doing a level up, and we are at camp right now. We still have a couple of things to do inside of Wyrm's Rock Fortress. We still have to have the first encounter with Gortash, and we're going to change up our party to do that. And then we have the Wyrmway, which is what we're going to be really focused on today. After that, we will move into the lower city. It's a fun time. It's a fun time. I'm not saying I'm going to, but it is a fun time. There are ways to make it easier. We probably won't be exploring those ways today because it's balanced mode. But when we get here for honor mode, we are definitely going to take on some of the ways to make this easier. Because yeah, this fight just will party wipe you on honor mode. But I don't think that's going to happen today. Yeah, there's a lot of it. And if you're going for an achievement out of it, it makes it even harder to do. Because you may end up skipping turns and letting Ansur just beat on you. Trying to get him to do something, but we'll talk about all that when we get in there. Yeah, the last stream did most of the stuff inside Worm's Rock. We still have... Once we could go back down to the prisons and do something right now, but we can learn more about it by going to have our encounter with Gortash first. So we kind of left that and didn't do it in our last stream. So once we trigger the encounter with Gortash, then he will leave the audience chamber and head up to his upstairs chambers, and that's what we cleared out last time. So we should be, once we have that encounter, then we can go back down to the prisons, finish that encounter down there, and then while we're down in the prisons, we will come out of there, and then we will head back down to the prisons and head down to the Wyrmway. And that's probably going to take us through the first half of the stream, if I had to guess. and then we'll head into the lower city and we'll start exploring there. There's so much to do in the lower cities that we are barely going to scratch any of the surface of it today. And you don't have to, Philip. The only reason that you clear it now is to make the encounter with Gortash easier later on, and make it easier to get the achievement. You can still get the achievement without having cleared that room first. So it's not like you have to do it. It just makes the fight easier when you're not trying to deal with Gortash and his traps at the same time that you're dealing with 3 Steel Watchers and 4 Dark Hand support characters. Especially with their fear auras, which can be a pain in the butt. Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode number 37 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Paladin gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I'd like to thank you for coming along on a journey today. So, nothing on the admin note front, so on our recap. Last week, we ventured into Wyrm's Rock Fortress and started dealing with the various quest progressions and side encounters in there. And we ended last week's live stream by clearing out the top floor where Gortash's office/living quarters are. And that was simply to make a future encounter with Gortash easier. You can do that as long as you do not have the confrontation with him in the audience hall. So now that we've done that, we are ready to jump in and have that confrontation. And we'll just go ahead and jump right in here, and we'll talk more about it as we go. Okay, so here we are in our camp where we ended up last time. I did go through off stream and do some inventory management. So we have trash bags that are filled up and all that sort of stuff, and did re-equipping of our characters to get things kind of set up. And now we are ready to head back out. Remember, we did our level ups last time, so we are at level 11. We have now just barely reached it. Got a long way to go to reach level 12 yet, but you would be surprised how fast that number decreases because of the amount of XP that we are able to pick up here. So with Gale here, yeah. So what we're going to do starting out today is I'm going to clear this trash bag out of Gale. Yes. Going to send that to camp. So now we can re-equip him. Everybody else I'm not too worried about at this point. I can always clear out their trash bags if weight becomes an issue. And we're going to leave camp. So We made it to Worm's Rock Fortress, and we're invited to Gortash's inauguration, and that is what we are going to do. We now know that we obviously have to proceed into to meet up with Kithrak Boss again, and that should be it. So before we go in and talk to Gortash, we want to change up our party a little bit, and we're going to do that so many people. Where is... Where's Karlak? Oh, yeah, Karlak's not in here. We don't have Karlak. Oh, wow, so quickly I forget. So we are not going to change our party out. Well, we are. We're just not going to change it up all the way. We're going to bring Wyll in place of Gale.
Already feeling better.
Well met. Mind flayers are like devils. They just sport tentacles rather than wings. Clever, manipulative, exploitative. The Emperor says he's a friend. I think we'd be fools to believe him. And maybe it's true. Maybe Stelmane allied with a mind flayer and subjected the city to their political will. Or maybe he made an offer she couldn't refuse. I'd love to join, but I don't think there's enough space for me to squeeze in. Let's make this happen.
And we are just bringing Wyll along for dialogue purposes. But if you want to get the most out of this encounter, have Karlak and Wyll in your party when you do this. As such, we're not going to worry about leveling up Wyll or anything like that, because we're going to have this conversation. Then we're going to do another encounter, but we'll come back here and drop him off before we do that. So now we're going to leave camp. Okay, and as you can see, we're back up here at the top where we left off last time. And yeah, we've looted all of the steel watchers that were up here. We've looted the chest that was up here on top. So we finished everything that we want to up here. Looking at our quest markers, you can see that we need to enter the audience hall. And that's what we're going to do today.
Wonder if the gods are watching me.
And I don't have to make my way back down there. I can go to Worms. I can fast travel to Worms Rock and be right back down here on the bottom.
Please make your way to down here. It won't happen, I swear. Lord Gortash is expecting you.
I can reactivate everything here. I don't have to do this. Because, again, we're not going to get into any fights at this point.
The people aren't stupid, Starian. They're scared. Gortash provoked a damn war and then promised them safety.
Never wanted.
Okay, so we're going to go in here. We're going to progress toward the audience hall. So we're going to open this door up.
It's the same principle.
Lord Gortash is expecting you. Please
And
make
here
your way to the
we
audience
have
chamber.
Mizora.
If it isn't little Wyll, straight to your handler. And I didn't even have to whistle.
Mizora, I've had enough. You owe your life to me. Time to end the pact.
Feeling cheeky, are we? Most unbecoming. Heard about your father. The Absolute's puppet. A damned travesty, if you ask me. He's upstairs in Worm's Rock, ordaining Gortash as Archduke. A splendid party, I hear. Perfect for crashing. Go on up. We'll talk after.
Okay, so Mizora is here. We're going to have to talk to her again here in a little bit. There are various bodyguards around here. There are also various attendants and that sort of stuff in here for the various nobles that are attending the coronation. There's nothing else that you can do down here in this area. So we're going to go ahead and go up into the audience hall. And we got 2 new journal updates. So this is progressing down into the foundry, the Steel Watch foundry, and disabling the Steel Watch. And Gortash is protected by the Steel Watch. If we want to make a move against him, we should figure out how to deal with them first. You actually don't have to do that. You can deal with Gortash right here if you want. However, it's bad if you do. You got a hint about it in our previous interactions with him, in that the Steel Watch have some sort of way to communicate through our parasites. And that should give you a hint that they are in some way being controlled and or utilized by the Elder Brain. Since the Elder Brain is under Gortash's control, that is keeping them subservient to his will. But if you kill Gortash before disabling the Steel Watchers, then the Elder Brain takes over the Steel Watchers. And that can lead to unintended consequences when you get into the lower city. So that's why the game wants you to disable the Steel Watchers first. You certainly can do it, and you can go see a bunch of videos on what happens if you do it. But you can have the combat in here. There are exterior side platforms out here on each side that you can utilize. There's even some nicely placed red barrels for you to deal with the various Steel Watchers and Flaming Fist that are in here in a more controllable way. But you're also still dealing with Gortash, and there are still traps in this room that you would have to deal with. So it's a complicated fight. It has some unintended bad consequences. So we are not going to do that, but you certainly can if you want to really play this game in a chaotic way. If you have Karlach with you, you're going to get different dialogue options, and there's a chance that she can get arrested here and sent to Wyrm's Rock Prison. And that's why I'm doing this now before really exploring Wyrm's Rock Prison, is because you may have to end up breaking Karlach out of jail, depending upon your dialogue choices that you make here. So again, you can go around the outside area, talk to various people that are up here, but there's no side quests or anything to be gained out of what's up here. So we're just going to go up and trigger the conversation or the cutscene here.
Stand down, villain. In the name of the Steel Watch, aggressive action will not be tolerated in the presence of the patriarchs of this proud city. The Steel Watch appreciate your cooperation, citizen.
Dearest patriarchs, dearest Ravengard, but a moment. The blade of frontiers graces our halls.
My father. He's here.
My friend, forgive the cold welcome. My Steel Watchers are eager watchdogs, for the good of the people, I'm sure you understand. Lord Enver Gortash at your service. I understand congratulations are in order. Thorm's defeat hasn't gone unnoticed. You're known. for who you are and for that nether stone that you carry. You know, it takes all three to control the brain. Without Thorns, it's become vexingly willful. The quakes are a clear warning. If nobody steps in soon, it'll free itself from the authority of the crown. I expect it'll start with turning the Sword Coasts infected. You among them. That prism of yours won't last indefinitely. Next, the grand design. The Mind Flayer Empire reborn. If we're lucky, we'll become slaves. If we're unlucky, well, not the most thrilling of prospects, but it's a fate that can be avoided if you and I come to an understanding. Together, we can still restore authority over the brain.
Of course. Gortash always did have an eye for opportunity.
Okay, so again, there are multiple ways to play this out, and how this conversation is going to go. Even if you decide to make a deal with Gortash here, Karlach can be, it can be explained to Karlach, and she can willingly go along with it when you explain to her that you're going to end up not going along with it later on. So it's not a black and white type of situation here that you're going to do. The easiest way is to follow what the game intends for you to do, which is to go about making a deal with him and then betraying that deal later on.
There's an old wisdom. A brittle alliance can never be mended. It can only break. With Ketheric gone, Orin proved treacherous. Baal's chosen wants the Netherstones for herself. She only cares for blood. And your blood and mine are of particular interest to her. Orin changes shape faster than you and I change clothes. You know, she's tricked you before. She's targeted me as well. I'm well protected, but she's extremely good at what she does. If Orin obtains all three Netherstones, she'll plunge the coast into chaos and paint the city in blood. I can't let that happen. I want to lead this city to glory, not scorch its earth. I'd like to propose a pact, a divine oath sworn upon spirit and flesh. I do no harm to you, nor you to me. Furthermore, you'll have nothing to fear from my steel watch while our pact stands. Thorm's stone is yours to keep. When you slay Orin and take her stone, you bring it here, so the three are united once again. Together we rule Faerun as kings. No, more than kings. Gods. We rule as the Absolute.
And my father?
Your father will do whatever you command him to, like any other subject in our kingdom. What do you say? Shall we be allies?
I can detect no deceit. This alliance could serve us well. And if it does not, well, we need not honor it.
An ally could be useful, at least for now. And when he's no longer useful, well, we can dispose of him then.
So Ketheric was ready to betray our alliance too. I can't say it comes as a surprise. But you should know this. I initiated this plot. I brought Ketheric and Orin together to create the Absolute. They knew this would only work if we stood united and coordinated our powers. Their ambition blinded them to reason. I don't suffer the same affliction. In short, you can trust me.
As strange as it sounds, everything he's saying, he is being absolutely truthful in. If you play this out where you end up becoming true allies, and you take that path through the ending, of the game, he's absolutely truthful with you. He is more than willing to accept you as a replacement for Ketherick and Orin, and you can control the Absolute together. There will be a cutscene and an interaction where you have to prove yourself to him, basically, that you are worthy of being his ally, but it's all very true. There's nothing that he is saying that's wrong here. If you pass the insight check, you will learn that. He's being 100% truthful and playing this above board.
Then let it be writ by the black hand of Bane. I, Lord Enver Gortash, swear I shall do you no harm. We will rise together over Toriel as a roaring sun. Let me demonstrate why you made the right choice. Your camp is compromised. One among you is an imposter, a faceless. Who, I can't say. I'd suggest a thorough investigation. You'll find I speak the truth.
An imposter? But who in the hells?
The faceless in your camp is like a knife at your throat. Remove it quickly, or any alliance between us would be exceedingly short-lived. Even horror has a home. Find her nest and slay her there. For all its charms, Baldur's Gate has long had a cancer at its heart. A hidden temple devoted to Baal. That's where Orin became what she is, where she worshipped and schemed. And now, it's where she hides from my watchers, when she's not spilling blood in the streets. You're resourceful. I trust you'll sniff it out. If the trail goes cold, follow the bodies. First, Orin the Red, bloody dagger of Baal, causes panic in the streets through killings in the Absolute's name. Next, the threat of the Absolute's monstrous armies formed by Merkel's general, Ketherick Thorn. In such circumstances, people crave strong leaders. Leaders that bring law, order, and protection. Leaders like me, Bane's unyielding hand, author of justice. You are soon to witness the people of Baldur's Gate granting me complete power over them, all out of fear of the Absolute. Next, we will declare curfew and begin infecting the masses. Our subjects will hear the voice of their absolute God. The faithful will do anything in the name of their God. Powerful connections. Let's leave it at that. More importantly, just. Now, come, be witness as I make history as the first Archduke of Baldur's Gate. You will follow me, and you will show due respect. Distinguished dukes, patriarchs, dearest Ravengard, I will heed your call. A new chapter begins.
Enver Gortash, swearest thou by Balduran's blade to defend the citizens of Baldur's Gate from enemies within and without?
I swear.
Swearest thou true faith and fealty to the same, by word, deed, and decree, so that none may suffer?
I swear.
Gathered guests, grant ye consent? Enver Gortash, the Council appoints you Archduke of Baldur's Gate.
My friends, the Steel Watch stands ready. Let its blade fall on any who would diminish our city. And you, honored guest, will find me in my office above when you return. Do not come empty-handed.
Feels like
Okay,
I lost
so that is the basics of the interaction. Now, you can have more talks with Gortash here. As soon as you leave this room, though, he's going to teleport up to his office residence on the top floor. And this is what I said, clearing out the top floor if you can beforehand makes an encounter with him later on much easier. We're going to go over and talk to Duke Ravengard here.
I want to have a word.
Truest of souls, bathed in her light.
There is a fleeting connection. Your parasite communes with his, then falls quiet.
Father, my dearest boy, my blood and my pride, you've come to me just as Gortash said you would. A true soul, no less. Father and son, unstoppable generals. You and your allies will usher in a new dawn. Help me. Ah, the Black Widow caught you in her web. Florrick chose shadow over light. Her betrayal burned deeper than the fires of a furnace. She's been punished for her lies. Don't let her get to you.
Punished? Florrick must be locked up somewhere, assuming she's still alive.
Within Ravengard's memories, you find Counsellor Florrick. She is confined in a cell right here in Wyrm's Rock.
The sun rises, true soul. Are you ready? What is a hero, if not an actor for the greater good? Faerun suffers in darkness. Tyr has abandoned us. Helm's Eye has strayed. But Baldur's Gate will soon burn bright, a beacon to light the heavens. Gortash and I will ignite the final spark, and that, true soul, is the greatest of goods.
No, this isn't him. This is the tadpole talking.
For a brief moment, uncertainty clouds his mind, then dissipates. The astral prism vibrates in concord.
What nonsense is this?
The prism quivers once more. Ravengard falters.
As I said, Baldur's Gate will ascend. Torill's first and only grand city.
First comes a vision of terror, the city of Baldur's Gate taken by lithids. But beyond the terror, there is hope. You see a beaming Ravengard presiding over the sunlit city, applauded by the people. A people at peace.
So, the real man is still in there. Somewhere.
Have we finished then?
Okay, so let's quickly talk to Wyll here.
Incredible. To hear my father's voice speak those words, like a stranger wrapped in his flesh. But there's still a glimmer of him in there, calling for release. I feel it. I know it. I won't let the Absolute keep him. This is my pledge.
Okay, so that's all the interactions that we're going to do in here. Like I said, you can
Something got
go around and have various conversations with the other NPCs in here. They're all just one-line conversations and that sort of stuff, but you can glean some additional stuff out of this. Some additional information and lore.
Finally, a leader with some charisma. Ravengard was quite the dullard.
Stuff like that. So once you have finished, take the passageway back out. And once you do that, we now have a quest marker here to talk to Mizora. And this is the bargain that we talked about with Gortash. So it has updated us to get Orin's Netherstone. So he wants us to go find it and then come back and talk to him. And the Investigate the Murders has been progressed to a point where we just need to go down to the lower city, and this is a pass to get down there to do it. But Rescue the Grand Duke has now been advanced, and this is going to advance further as we go through the rest of this. But we did pick up a new one, Free Counsellor Florrick. She's being held within Wyrm's Rock. That's where we'll find her, and that's what we're going to go do right now. And we obviously did progress these two of Wyll's companion quests, and one of them is to go talk to Mizora, and that's what we're going to do here.
What did I tell you? A momentous occasion. I'm sure you agree.
I've had enough, Mizora. What do you want?
Your attention, little pup. Nothing more. And you'll be glad to give it. You see, Gortash has had your father relocated. To the slaughter, the way I hear it.
Shit.
Your dad's good as dead, pup. And to think, there's no way to save him. Or is there?
You know something.
I know enough. I'll be in your camp if you want to work something out.
Okay, so we'll talk to Wyll again.
Of course she'd stick her infernal nose where it doesn't belong. Of course she's dreamt up some risible scheme. By all the hounds of the hells, what is she planning? Certainly not. But she's as inevitable as Torril's path around the sun. We'll have answers soon enough. Mizora's gone to camp. We should speak with her. Until then, may my father keep safe, whatever coop he's been flown to.
Okay, and if we look at our quest lines, Mizora is now waiting for us in camp, and Duke Ravengard is no longer in the Coronation Chamber. He has been moved to another location, as Mizora said, and she's going to offer up a deal for us, because she makes it sound like it's hopeless to rescue him without her help. And we're going to have to deal with that as well. However, there are a couple of things that I want to look at first. Okay.
Checking things out.
So we're going to head back down into the prisons because we need to rescue Florrick. And that's where this quest marker is leading us.
It won't happen. Not turning on those who
Can't give up now. What path lies before me?
Okay, so if you have Karlach in your party and you chose the path of violence with Karlach, wherein she will want you to rush Gortash and try and kill him right there. You will all be interrupted by the Steel Watch, and she will be arrested, and she will be brought back down here to the prisons. Interesting. Trying to think what I did there. To break it. Okay, well, doesn't matter. I'll deal with that later. So here is Counsellor Florrick.
Very well.
You're too late. It's over.
By Avernus. Florrick.
The Steel Watch happened. I came seeking allies to our cause. Watchers spotted me, dragged me to older Ravengard's husk, empty as a stair. Your father's a tadpole's puppet, Wyll. Nothing more. He's spoken accusations. Apostasy, conspiracy, sedition. I'll be executed in 5 dawns.
The hell's with that. Nothing is over. Not while I still draw breath.
When the people need a miracle, you cannot wait for the gods to answer.
Father's words.
Indeed. To think I'd almost forgotten. No more sulking. I know what to do. And I can only do it with the help of the blade. Unlock my cell. Escort me out of Wyrm's Rock. I'll seek out my connections. When the city streets shatter, you'll want their blades. Hurry.
Okay, so she's told you that she's going to be executed soon. Now this starts a timer. She said she was going to be executed in 5 days. If you do not free her within that time, she will get killed. Okay? Now there are multiple ways to deal with breaking her out. The first is here in the storage room where we have already been. I did break it a long time ago, Philip, when we first started. It was like the second stream or something. But I paid to have my oath restored and when I respect, because you can't respec until you restore your oath. So remember here in the storeroom where we broke out here through this wall? You can open this up, you can escort Counsellor Florrick out that way, and as soon as you get her outside there, she will start a cutscene and she will disappear. Now, to do that, the other way is to take her right out the main entrance, up the stairs, and out the front gate. Now, if you take her out the storage room, then you only have to deal with the people that are in here. So you have the 3 fists that are in this room, and you have the fist that is patrolling, and you possibly have the fist out front here. If you take her up the main stairs, you have to deal with all of them, plus all of the fists and the Steel Watchers that are upstairs, because they are not going to let her leave. However, there's a simple way around this, and that is by putting Florrick out of view of everybody that you're going to be passing. And to do that, we're going to move up here. We're going to break our group.
What a day.
We're going to move Astarion over here, and we're going to change Astarion out to his lock-picking gear. We're going to wait for Festivaris to get a little bit down the corridor.
Time for discretion.
And we're going to go into turn-based mode. And we're going to have Astarion pick this lock. Okay, and then we can open the gate, and this brings
Really?
Counsellor Florrick into our party. Now, for this, we're going to highlight Counsellor Florrick and have her drink the potion of invisibility. Okay, it's important to get her to drink it. You can have it in somebody's inventory, and once you highlight her, any actions you do are going to be done by her. So she can drink this potion of invisibility. You can, if you have somebody who has the invisibility spell, cast it on her instead to accomplish the same thing. I'm not going back to the camp yet to bring Gale back into my party, and I'm not going to level Wyll up just to get the invisibility spell. But I want him here for the dialogue option, so I'm just going to have Counsellor Florrick drink this. Okay, she's now invisible.
Have a lot on my mind, and
I'm going to exit turn-based mode, and she's going to be invisible for 10 turns.
One day I'll catch a break.
So we need to hustle here. Head up the passageway.
On everything.
Are they going to arrest us?
Once we get up top here, we can continue making our way out.
This is far enough. The way should be clear. I can't thank you enough for getting me out of that damned prison. And for giving me courage when I'd all but run out.
It's the least we could do. Your faith in this city should inspire us all.
When the flames roared loudest, you pulled me to safety. Most would have let me burn. I won't forget it. I will travel to the upper city. Find what allies I can. You won't fight the coming battle alone. As long as the city stands, I will stand with it. This is my promise.
And now she will disappear, and you're going to get a good chunk of experience there. That's going to complete the free Counsellor Florrick quest here, and it's also going to advance the Gather Your Allies quest. So she's immensely grateful. We are sure to have her and the Flaming Fist by our side when we need it most. The Gather Your Allies set of quests is for the final end battle in the game. And now we have taken our first step to have a group of people join us in that fight here. Okay, so that's an easy way to complete that. We're going to head before I do that, we're going to head to camp. We're going to bring Gale back into camp.
Over there.
Or bring Gale back into the party and put Wyll back here.
Sorry.
Oh.
If I'm
Yep. Sorry. Still had Astarian equipped.
Best be on my
Or
way.
selected.
I need a moment for the two of us.
Whatever business Wyll has with Mizora, it will cost him dearly. Or worse still, it will cost us. I hope we can afford it.
Okay. So... Oh, whoops, I didn't bring him into the party.
Go ahead. I'm listening. Oh, nothing would give me greater pleasure. Which of our esteemed company am I stepping in for? Back in the thick of things at last. Oh, how exciting.
Okay. So now we can leave camp, and there are some things we do have to do in camp during our next long rest. But for now, we have somewhat full action economy. There is the whole oath-breaking thing to deal with, but that's not going to affect us very much for this. We have full action economy on everything else.
Let's get going.
And we want to head back down into the prisons.
I don't know, dear. I don't know. All we can do is be
Let's see
patient.
what this does.
Because down here in the prisons, we have something else that we can go look at, and that's over here. So let's make sure. Okay, so we need a way to cause lightning damage for this part of it. Now we have a couple of different ways. I think we do have Shocking Grasp, which is a cantrip, which we can utilize. We also have the Chargebound Warhammer, which is doing lightning damage. You can always use spells like Lightning Bolt or Witch Bolt or something like that. It's just a waste of a spell slot if you have something else that's going to be able to do that damage. And while we are here, we want to make sure that we have everything brought fully up to speed, but we'll do that once we get inside.
No time to rest.
We'll have time in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to attack the Dragon Head Torch. If you look at all the other, they're just iron torches up here. These are Dragon Head torches, so there's something different about these. As soon as you hit them with lightning damage, they turn blue. And this back wall will open up
through
into a new area. There's a way to get into here from inside the cells, so you don't have to know how to operate this per se. You can gaseous form or wild shape your way into here by passing a perception check in the cells as well. as you move farther down here, you're going to get to an iron gate that you can interact with. And here we are going to make sure we go through all of our final buff ups here. So we're getting everybody with Long Strider. We're going to have Gale
not around, so it might as well
do his armor switch, and it looks like I got rid of that piece of armor that he had. I keep doing that. When I did my inventory management, I got rid of his piece of medium armor. And then I took the bag and put it into camp. So I don't have it. So we cannot fast travel from here
to New Horizons.
So I'm gonna have to go back and get one. So I can do Gale's buff for his arcane wards. I could do it by taking armor off of somebody else, but I need to do this anyway. Okay, so now we're good enough. We can... Okay, no, we're not.
Are they going to arrest us?
Now we're good enough. We can travel back to camp. That's my fault. I forgot that I put that away. Oh, it's probably here. Yep. So I'm trying to remember what... Oh, yeah, light armor. I used the Selûnite robe for it, I believe. And we'll just do the switch here, so... Right now, we can armor shadows. Swap to the Selûnite robe. That gets rid of it. Put the ice bite back on, and I wish there was a way to lock things from my inventory, but there's not. And Gale has 7 levels of wizards, so that's 14 is his max arcane ward. So once he's got 11, going to go back to the ice bite robe, and now I'm going to have the cast Armor of Agathis, and this is a level 3 spell. So that's going to take him up to 14 and give him Armor of Agathis.
No one back home will ever believe this.
Okay, so I need to remember not to get rid of that from Wyll's inventory. It needs to stay there.
It won't happen, I swear.
Now we can head back down.
Still breathing, despite everything. Light on my feet.
Okay, and now we need to do one more thing with Gale.
Oh, I have the magic touch.
We need to equip the Drake Throat Glaive and have him cast Elemental Weapon and Give me just a second. I forgot to look this up beforehand. I knew there was something I was forgetting today. Okay, I don't want to spend time doing it. I'll just throw it in here. I'm going to put coal. And now I can put these back on. Morning Frost and the incandescent staff. Okay, now Astarion needs to get rid of his thieves gear. Okay.
Never a dull moment.
And now I think we're ready. So you can leave this area, like I just showed. You just have to walk your way out. You can't fast travel your way out of here. Okay, and we're going to head into the Iron Gate. Okay, so in here, you're going to... the first thing you'll see is this Journal of Past Adventurers. There are going to be versions of this in here. You can read these to kind of give you hints about what you're going to be encountering. Because there's a group that's been through here before, and this is kind of their chronicles of what happened with them. So it says that they're going down here to meet the dragon, the good dragon, or so we pray. God bless our endeavor. So there's a dragon down here that they came to meet, and hopefully it's a good one. Now on the walls here, you can look at the various murals that are over here on the sides and learn some more lore about what you're going to be getting into.
A dragon and elf, apparently befriended.
Okay,
one day,
so
I'll share such a bond with a dragon of my own.
I'm going to have...
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
An elf sailor with a bronze dragon. They look positively cozy together.
I'll take this way.
Balduran and his scaly friend admiring the city they created. Balduran sets sail while the dragon keeps vigil over the city.
Okay, so you're learning that Balduran and a dragon met down here. They became allies, and Ansur stayed around as the protector of the city. And here you have the statue of Balduran.
Let's see what we have here.
The statue before you bears a familiar likeness. It is Balduran, the celebrated adventurer who founded the city of Baldur's Gate.
Peril floods my province. The palisades fall, the earth does tremble. The servants of shadow and blood assemble. Beyond lies the grand Wyrm, deep in slumber, awaiting a true hero's advent, should my domain drown in torment. Be you the deluge, turn away. Be you the hero, answer true. Are you worthy?
Poetic nonsense. There is no one and no savior.
I can try an Arcana check. You don't really have to worry about this, though.
Whatever magic allows this statue to speak, it lies beyond your grasp. The statue gives no response.
Ancient Ansur, hear me. A champion is proclaimed. The test begins. Let your judgment follow.
Now, you don't have to speak to the statue. You can pick your way into that door if you would like. The statue is just kind of an introduction to one of the mechanics down here, and that you're going to find these statues throughout this area, and you want to talk to them to gain insight as to what you're going to be doing. And yes, Philip, to answer your question, it looks like you can. I had forgotten that you can fast travel from here in the Wyrmway.
With haste.
But we should, it's not red bordered, so yeah, it looks like you can. I had, like I say, it's been a while since I've been down here, so I was mistaken in thinking that you couldn't fast travel from here, but you can.
What other wonders have I missed?
Okay, so in here you're going to find some crafting supplies. And as you move around in here,
don't mind if I do.
Again, now you see more statues here. You find a main door that's locked, and there are other doors around, or areas around the outsides. You can think of this kind of similar to the Trials of Shar, in that there are 4 different side rooms here for you to do something, and when you've completed all of them, the door is going to open. Okay, now it doesn't matter what order you do these in. So we're going to go and start on this side here.
Face my tests.
Okay, and again, multiple ways to do this. What I am going to do that's interesting. You know, I could do that. Could cheese this. You know, let's separate Shadowheart from the party
All's
here.
well that ends not as bad as it could have. Don't waste a step.
We'll take everybody else out here. The only real question, because this can backfire spectacularly. And I mean spectacularly. But we will see how this goes. So you have the statue of Balduran here. You have a few of these attuned crystals that are around here, and that's really it. Okay, we can talk to the statue.
A champion burns bright, even when rushing waters and moaning winds threaten to extinguish the flames. Take the torch, withstand the elements, prove your courage.
Okay, so you can leave here and prepare for what's about to happen, or you can take the torch and start this up. Okay, so we rolled first, which is good. A couple of air elementals have spawned here in this room. All you have to do is survive the trial. There are 4 turns remaining, and as you go through this, more and more elementals are going to be spawning to try and kill the torchbearer. They are really only going to be going after they're going to prioritize, I should say, the torchbearer. But if you get in the way of them, certain AoE actions and that sort of stuff can certainly affect the outcome of their attacks, but they're going to be going after the Torchbearer for the most part. And since they're going to be going after the Torchbearer, I'm going to cast Sanctuary on myself and end my turn. And after every turn, one of these pillars is going to light up to indicate that you have completed a turn. But since I have Sanctuary active for 9 turns, and this is only going to last for 3 more turns, and you do want to make sure that you have all of your reactions on ask, because you do not want, if you're trying to do it this way, you do not want your opportunity attack to trigger if one of them moves away from you, because then if you do damage, Sanctuary is going to end and you're going to be blocked from recasting it for a whole nother turn. Okay, so you can see that the Myrmidons can do a lot of different things in here. And if you're not able to clear out all of the Myrmidons at the end of each turn, things can very, very quickly get out of hand in here. And you can get overwhelmed. They all have large amounts of hit points, so the fight is not easy. The Myrmidons all have resistance to non-magical attacks, but they also have resistance to lightning damage in here. So the whole wet and doubling up damage is only going to work for some of them. But almost everybody's going to be immune to thunder damage of some sort, and they have some very serious AoE attacks that they can throw out here to cause damage to you. So like I said, it can very quickly get out of hand here if you're not prepared for this. And remember, AoE attacks are still going to damage your characters. They can't directly target you, but AoE spells are still going to damage you. So I should have moved Shadowheart there, but like I say, it wasn't a big deal. And you can also see that they can go invisible, they can heal each other. They can do all sorts of stuff like that to really make this fight more difficult. But the Sanctuary spell can trivialize it quite a bit. And that is the first trial complete. Now, there is a journal over here. Almost forgot about it.
What do we have here?
Okay. This is talking about a lance board trial. The ground shakes, crystals fall, and I can hear the rustling of metal against rust. If this is the end, let this be my record, then we must run. Lance board is what chess is called in the Forgotten Realms. And that's a little clue about what you're going to be dealing with. There's going to be a chess trial, and in that chess trial, there is some metal entities or something rustling in the walls, possibly as a consequence of failing it. Okay. Hey, Reinmar, welcome. Thanks for being here. Yeah, welcome. Welcome back. So now, and you can see that the first statue is illuminated to let you know that you've passed that trial. So we're going to head into the next door here. Now in here, you can see a lance board table. So this is the trial that they were alluding to. You do have some attuned crystals here, which are blocking your way. Whoops. No match for Eldritch Blast, though. Now we can come in here and again talk to the statue.
Prove your strategic wits. There is but one rule. The Dark King must fall in 2 moves. Are you a commander of armies? Or a shivering pawn? Fodder for cleverer minds.
Lanceboard happens to be a game with which I have more than a passing familiarity. Might I offer a suggestion?
Now, if Gale's in your party, you're going to have an advantage on this in that he's going to help you pass this. If he's not here, you don't have to take any of, or you don't have to have the suggestions. The statue told you what you need to do. You need to checkmate the Black King within 2 moves.
First, have the White Queen move all the way across and capture the Black Pawn. This leaves Black's King in check, forcing him to retreat a square left. Your Queen then takes the other pawn, 1 square up and left, always under the protection of her faithful bishop.
Okay, so there are actually 2 possible scenarios that Gale can give you here. And it's random whichever one you get. Now, to explain how this goes, you have 3 chances at this. Whenever you select a piece, it's going to highlight all of the ways that that piece can move, following standard chess rules. Okay, so your bishops, your pawns, your king, your queen here, they all have the standard chess ways that they can move. Now, what will happen is if you make, there are only 2 sets of moves that can be done that are correct for this. If you try and do another move that is incorrect, the board will immediately reset and one of these will highlight because it knows that you've picked a wrong opening move, so you can't possibly complete it with your next one. Okay? Now, what Gale said is that we need to take our White Queen and we need to take the Black Pawn here, but that is not how I'm going to do this, because in my mind that isn't going to work. Is that what he said in conversation? Because if I do that, that's going to let my queen get taken by this black pawn here. So it's been a while since I've done this, so let me think about where I want this to go. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know where it is. He doesn't want me to take the pawn. Okay, that's what I was I was confused about that. He doesn't want us to take the pawn. But I thought we always had to have the king in check. When we did this. Because the way that I would do this would be to move my queen here. But no, he could block that with this. Okay, let's talk to Gale again because I'm confused about what he recommended.
Whatever ancient purpose is imbued in these halls, it may not welcome our presence here.
The Dark King.
Okay, so it's removed that option. So let me think about this. Because if I move the White Queen here, that does not threaten the king, which means that he could take with the rook and do a sacrifice here. And then my next move would not work. So I need to threaten the king. But to do that, if I move the queen here, he can take... Oh, no, he can't. That's what it is. That would be discover check.
I'll give it a shot.
So I can move the queen here. And you can see the highlighted points. Now with Gale here, it flashes white to let you know where you want to move. He can't take back with the pawn because that would be discover check. So that's going to force the king to move to that spot there. And now my queen can take here. And that's checkmate. Because the king can't take, he can't move to any of those three squares, and he can't take my queen because he would be in discover check with my bishop. So yeah, sorry, it took me a while to remember that. The whole discover check thing eluded me for a second. It's a really good illustration of some of the things that go into chess. So I just forgot. Took me a while to remember about discover check there. So, and now you can see the second statue is lit up. Okay, and now the third section is actually across here, and we will do our second Indiana Jones, or our third Indiana Jones reference here, back to the Leap of Faith from Last Crusade. You can just walk across this because there is a somewhat invisible bridge here. Okay, and you can walk into this room, and again, there's a statue to talk to.
A good leader has the insight to find good counsel. As a war reaches its end, there is one who doesn't advise for the city's prosperity. Find him and strike him down.
Okay, so there are 3 red images down here for 3 different people, and Balduran wants you to find which one is not acting in the best interests of the city and strike them down. Now, if you know who to attack right now, you can just make an attack from range from right here, assuming your path is not interrupted, and attack one of them. The way to solve this is to see that we have some books that are flying around here. And the way to deal with these books is to go into turn-based mode. There are multiple ways to deal with these books. You can apply the frightened status effect to them so that they stop moving. You can pick them up with a sleight of hand check. However, they have to be in certain locations. You can't be on any of the stairs or anything like that because the vertical distances get a little bugged out. But the easiest way to do it is to right-click on them and throw them. And just throw them onto the ground somewhere. Okay, and you get the item in your inventory, and you can read it. So this is Stead's virtues. So you can learn about Alwyn Stead. Okay? He's saying that as the kingdom grows, so does its field, its populace, and its economy. A few charred corpses is a worthy sacrifice. If a dragon offers to share its hoard, after all, so too should you seek union. Should a powerful kingdom march its army on your borders, some friction is inevitable. Citizens' rights might erode, for instance, but such lesser issues will be sanded down by the march of time. So Stead here is, you know, kind of showing some goods and bad things about this, and that's all part of governing here, so to speak, is finding a balance between the goods and the bads. So we're going to come up here and go into turn-based mode again for the next book here. And this is Suelto's Ethic of War. Okay, I failed my athletics check.
I've got a long road ahead. Hope this ends well.
Okay.
I wonder what the next move is.
These athletics checks are not that hard.
Careful, I bite.
Okay, so now I can exit and I can read this one. So, my colleague Amaps proposes fair rules of engagement in times of war. Are we to spare our enemies? Are we to put all hatred behind us? Indeed not. For what we shall do, once our opponent gathers new armies in masses, then once again along our borders, we shall wage another war. Once an enemy kingdom is conquered, it must be razed to the ground. Only then can we be free of its specter. So, Suelto's advocating that when you conquer an enemy kingdom, you destroy everything about it. You kill all of the people, you destroy all of the cities. And that is in the bad, obviously. The good is for a possible avoidance of a future war that you don't really know if it's going to happen or not. So the good and the bad here is a little bit outweighed. They're not balanced as much because you don't know if a future war is going to happen. You're just going to take steps to completely preclude it from happening, and those steps are going to be to kill everyone and everything. So Suelto's right now is probably a little bit worse than anything we've seen so far. But we'll go down here and we'll check in with the last book.
Well, hello.
Get down here!
Okay, and here's what I meant. Sometimes the verticals of this can get a little weird. So once it's done, you can come out of turn-based mode and pick it up from the ground. You don't have to stay in turn-based mode to do it. Once you succeed the throw check, the book will go down onto the ground and you don't have to pass a sleight of hand check to pick it up if it bugs out like that. So here, life has been a long succession of pleasures. It was not life without struggle. My old friend Suelto comes to mind, who adopted such cruel ideologies later than life. So now you're getting other people tell you that Suelto was probably the worst out of all of these. So now we've kind of gotten a hint that Suelto is the one that we want to get rid of. So we're going to go down here and we're going to target Suelto. And we don't want to do more than one attack. Or else this thing can bug out. Okay. And that lets you know that you did it correctly. You don't want to do multiple attacks, so if you're if you have any things that are going to trigger upon death of an enemy or something like that, you don't want to do them here, because there is sometimes a bug where if the second attack lands while the game has already decided to remove that character, it has an error there and it won't get rid of the character, and the quest can be bugged out that way, and it will end up spawning the enemies, and then you're not able to complete it. So it's fairly rare that it happens, but you want to not go in there with multiple attacks on the enemy while you're doing it. Once you're done, you can go through and you can search all of the bookshelves, and you can read more things about the lore here. He was a sailor. Balduran was a sailor. And here, Balduran claimed a guardian and friend, Ansur, right where Ansur scales and brighter still his breath. Yet after a betrayal, too piercing to recount, here in worthy detail, Ansur fled beneath the stone, thereby changing the name of the region he now slumbers under to match his draconic lineage. The Wyrmway is where we are, so that lets you know that Ansur is down here, and there was a betrayal of some sort that happened in the past between Ansur and Balduran. Might be useful. And we're going to learn more about that as we progress here. But there are various books that you can read here and pick up. And again, most of this is going to be more lore-based and that sort of stuff. So here, yes, is more lore about the army that is coming during the 5 Years' War that you learned about. And here is more in lore about Netheril and Karsus and what happened for the fall of the Netherese Empire. It's basically a tragedy in 4 parts, a play that talks about the various things that happened. And you learn about Mage Karsus, his brief and terrible godhood, and the ruin he wrought. And this all goes back to Forgotten Realms lore, with Karsus attacking Mystra and removing the casting of all magic everywhere in the Forgotten Realms, and the implications of that. So yeah, a lot of lore-based stuff down in here that you can read. I certainly encourage you to do it. There's a lot of very interesting stuff about the Forgotten Realms down here to take a look at. Okay, so now that we're out, we can walk back across. And we have one more area to do, and that's here. So we should have 3 statues that are lit up.
goes nothing.
Paintings hung on the wall.
A true champion knows justice and eliminates those who stand in its way. Restore the balance of justice.
Okay, so in justice here, you can see around the outside that there are these paintings. And these paintings are going to tell a story. And then here in the middle, you have an empty pedestal, or the waiting judgment. There are 3 paintings over here which are shrouded. One of them needs to be picked up and placed here. And reading the story here will let you know which one of these 3 it needs to be picked up and placed over there. However, you can't pick them up because they're shrouded, because here in the middle is the judge. And
I need a quick word.
Away!
The judge is...
No, the paintings tell the tale. My judgment is rendered. The thief earns his due.
So this is the shadow of the judge who cast sentence on somebody. And Balduran is telling you revisit this case and see if they made the right decision or not. So we're going to start over here with the apple.
The apple. The painting depicts a red-haired man stealing a shiny apple from a cart in an open-air market. You know this market, the Wide, where Baldur's Gate citizens and visitors gather to conduct trade and wax political.
Okay, so somebody stole an apple.
The child. A red-haired man is portrayed with his cloak's hood lowered, giving an apple to a smiling urchin. Several other children are huddled behind the one receiving the apple, hands outstretched.
Okay, so he stole an apple and he gave it to beggar children. So committed a crime, did it for a good purpose, but it was still a crime.
The induction. A red-haired man is depicted in hushed conversation with a dark-haired woman. She wears a cloak with an unusual symbol on it, tally marks totaling the number 9.
Okay, we're going to learn more about the 9 symbol that's on that cloak a little bit later on.
The theft. A red-haired man is depicted in the Hall of Wonders, thieving what looks to be a priceless artifact. It's an astrolabe of entrapment. It could hold a dozen djinn within it, perhaps even more.
Okay, so now he's talked to somebody, and through some method or another was either convinced or bribed or something else like that to go steal another artifact.
The chase. A red-haired man is depicted running through the city streets, a flaming fist officer chasing just behind. A cloaked woman, hair dark as a raven, looks on from a safe distance.
Okay, so now the person that he was stealing that artifact for is giving him up and is not doing anything to save him. So a little bit of a shady dealing there.
The judgment. A stern judge, his pockets full of coin, orders a red-haired man to the gallows. A shiny apple rests on the ground nearby.
Okay, so now you kind of see the full breadth of what happened here, in that the judge was paid off by somebody, the woman in the shrouded cape, to execute this man, to keep him from doing other charitable acts for people in the city. And he was set up and captured and then given a sentence to do this. So he was put to death, and that is the sentence that Balduran wants us to revisit here. So now we need to find out what these paintings are, so we need to get rid of the judge. There are a few ways to do that. And one is with turn undead. Okay, it's only a 30% chance for it to work here. Okay, but he failed it, so he disappeared. The other guaranteed ways to do it, well, I know remove curse is a guaranteed way to do it. That's going to use up a spell slot. I would prefer at this point not to use any spells when I had a channel divinity charge. If I had to use it, I would have. It would have cost me a level 3 spell slot to do it. Other things, I think banishment works. And then there are the damage avoidance techniques. It's not hostile, so if you cast an AoE spell that you can move, he will move to try and stay out of the damage radius of that spell. So the easiest thing to do is to cast Spirit Guardians, and when you move close to him, he will move away from you, and you can move up next to him again, and he will move away from you, and you can move him over into a corner so that you can you can move him out of the circle, and once he gets out of the circle, he will disappear, and you'll have access to the paintings. That damage avoidance mechanism is a very popular way to move non-hostile NPCs away. You can actually exploit that to deal with Gortash. You can, before you have a conversation with him, you can move him out of his chamber up there, move him outside onto one of the balconies, and kill him out there after you've closed the door and he's hidden from view. So there are multiple ways you can use Spirit Guardians like that to have NPCs avoid damage. This is just another one. We managed to get Turn Undead to work, so we're good.
Alive, so that's progress. Better not be cursed.
The hanging. A red-haired man is depicted hanging from a gallows as a crowd looks on. You notice a child in the crowd, a falling tear leaving a trail on his cheek.
Okay, so this is the first judgment. This is what the continuation of the judge wanted to do, is to hang him.
Freedom. A red-haired man walks the streets of Baldur's Gate, clad in a billowing cloak. You catch a glimpse of a sly smile beneath his hood, and a golden coin in his hand.
Okay, you can free him, and he would probably continue on his life of crime, and whether that stays good or whether it turns bad is depicted here. It's probably going to turn bad where he starts just thinking about himself.
The cell. A stern prison guard slides a warm meal into the thief's cell. The red-haired man has a 10-day left to serve, judging by the scratchings on the wall behind him.
And here he gets sentenced to a term in jail, but he's treated like a regular prisoner in jail. He's not roughed up or anything like that. And he's going to finish out serving his time. And this seems to be the most level form of justice to invoke here. He did commit crimes, whether he did them for the right reason or whether he was tricked into something else. He did commit a crime, but at the end of the day, he was set up by somebody else and doesn't deserve death for that, but he doesn't deserve to be going free because, again, he did commit a crime. So the cell is probably the best one for us to do. So if we click on the waiting judgment here, it's going to ask us to insert an item. So we're going to pick up the cell. Okay, so here we banish the dishonorable judge, and we applied a sentence that was proportional to the crime that was committed. And that's what it wanted us to do. So now we have all 4 of the statues lit, and we are able to progress through the double iron doors here. Here you can see there's a dragon's head on the front here, and we're given a huge chunk of XP. That's why I said your XP getting close to 12, it actually goes down really fast. We were at something like 24,000 before we started this, and we're down to 16 already. So as you start progressing through some of these things, you can get huge chunks of XP to get towards level 12. Okay, so here's the Dragon Sanctum. And again, we are just in the Wyrmway. There's nothing that we can look at or do off to the sides here.
With courage does the hero march. Fettered by the taxing chains of fear, a stalwart soul must ever persevere. With insight does the hero choose. Guidance born of ancient wisdom proven. Peace, not strife, the undenied conclusion. With justice does the hero rule. Lead not the guiltless lamb to bloody slaughter, nor cleanse the lion's sins in sacred water. With strategy does the hero scheme. A cunning mind, 100 steps ahead, your allies close, your rivals stunned in dread. Worthy you are found. Go forth, hero, seize your fate, and rise, great Wyrm, heart of the gate.
Okay, so we've been found worthy after passing all the trials, and now we're going to go in and meet Ansur. Ansur's dead. So, unexpected. Ansur is a level 17 undead dragon. Got an armor class of 19. Standard dragon stats with a strength of 25, a con of 23, but it is dead. So, has all the standard dragon stuff, and you can tell that it is a dragon of the lightning variety, because it is immune to all lightning damage. So while we are here, we want to do something, and we are going to sort these arrow types by type here. And I forgot to do this. Okay, so I don't have that many arrows of dragon slaying here. Okay, but I'm going to move those out into my inventory here. So here you can approach this a couple of different ways. You can, spoiler alert, we are going to get into a fight with Ansur. Ansur is not entirely dead. Like I said, he is undead at this point. And we're going to get into combat with Ansur. Now, Ansur is going to use lightning attacks. So we have some elixirs of lightning resistance. We've got 2 of them here that we can use. So we are definitely going to use those.
Someone there.
least things have stayed interesting.
Okay, so we have lightning resistance. We'll take half damage from lightning damage. And the important thing about this is that they can no longer be shocked, electrocuted, jolted, or otherwise affected by lightning. And that's going to become important depending upon how you manage this fight. There are areas that are covered with water out here. If you get the wet condition, Ansur's attack can be particularly devastating, because you would become vulnerable to lightning damage. And you are going to, Ansur's going to have some help during this fight. And some of those enemies are going to be able to make you wet. So the people that I'm going to have standing nearest to Ansur, I definitely want them to have lightning resistance. And Astarion is going to be kind of mid-range. My Paladin's going to be standing right in the thick of things. Gale and Shadowheart are going to be on crowd control duties for the most part. However, they are going to be stepping close for one particular thing. Now, Ansur's fight has an end game thing to it, meaning that he has an attack which is called the Bout of or the Stormheart Nova. That attack can do 18d10 damage of lightning damage, and it can end your run very, very quickly if it hits. Now, there are ways to avoid it by taking cover behind objects, and as long as you are not in the line of sight, you won't get hit by it. But you can see that there isn't necessarily a lot of area that's outside of line of sight. So if you are fighting over here and he destroys all of these crystals, then you're going to have to move your fight over somewhere here so that you'll be able to take cover behind these if he casts it again. If those get destroyed, you're going to have to move your fight over here so that you can take cover again behind these. So you need to kind of manage how this goes, because that attack can wipe your party entirely. You need to be able to cause enough damage to beat him before he does that attack enough that there's no room for you to take cover behind anything, or
and you shall find me.
Okay. I thought we had picked one up. I didn't check this beforehand, and that's probably... Yeah, we do have one. Oh, it's not called Odalux. It's called the Sphere of Globe of Invulnerability. You can cast the Sphere of Globe of Invulnerability, or the Globe of Invulnerability spell, and for 3 turns, it creates a barrier that makes creatures and objects inside of it immune to all damage. Okay? Now, you have to be careful where you cast this, because you don't want Ansur to be inside of it. You want your party to be inside of it. So it's one of those things that you hold in reserve, where if you can't kill him in time, and you're about to die, you don't have any other way to kill him in time, that you can throw this up and everybody can make their way into it and survive that particular attack. So if you have a Globe of Invulnerability scroll or a spell, if somebody has it in their spell list here, that you can prepare it before you go into this fight, That's a good thing to have as well. Okay. I think I'm going to be able to do this without needing that very much. But we're going to kind of see how this goes here. So I'm going to, it doesn't matter really if you split your party up very much, but I'm going to move Gale and Shadowheart.
Certainly.
There's no time to waste.
Back.
I'll go this way. Mustn't let anyone see.
It's a gnome's life for me. These boots have seen everything.
Now there is something else that you can do before this starts.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more
Without
interesting
clicking
times.
on
Can't
answer,
slow down.
you can make your way around the back. And sitting here on this altar is the helm of Balduran.
Always room for more.
Okay, that is going to open up this back exit, which takes you out here. Don't think that this is a safe area, though. It is not. But that does give you the item. So the Helm of Balduran gives you vitality. So every turn, you're going to get 2 hit points back. You have a +1 bonus to armor class and saving throws. You can't be stunned, and attackers cannot land critical hits on you. That last one is fairly important because we got rid of our armor that stopped critical hits. So compared to the Covert Cowl, what's going to be happening in here is we're going to lose our -1 to roll a crit, but we're going to gain +1 to armor class, which is going to take us to 24 on our armor class. And we're going to gain +1 to saving throws, which is going to help us avoid any AoE lightning attacks. We're going to be getting healed, and we can't have critical hits landed on us anymore. Ansur does have a melee attack. It's actually a multi-attack, if I remember right, that can do a lot of damage. So helping avoid that with the extra armor class is good. And then he also has an AoE, like, slam himself down onto the ground thing, which you have to pass a saving throw for. So this will give me an extra way of trying to avoid that damage as well. Now, we are not going to get legendary actions here because we are not in honor mode. But we will go ahead and start this off and see how it goes.
The dragon's spirit floods your mind and memory in a great torrent of power. He is with you. He is within you. He is you. The next words that spill from your mouth are not yours, but the worm's.
I am Ansur, heart of the gate, butchered in flesh, risen in spirit.
Ansur wends his way through your mind like an unstoppable river. Your body is unmoving, yet thought flows effortlessly between you. The spirit pauses, and you feel the astral prism stir. Ansur senses the Emperor's presence within it.
Answer me, Facey. Why have you come?
A deep sigh resonates within you. The torrent stills, only disturbed by the dragon's next words.
Brack, my words aren't meant for you. They're meant for him.
The Emperor stirs in the astral prism, then in you. Calm, curious, and detached.
presence has stirred me, as it ever did. I am awakened. Ansur, it's been too long. A name I once answered to. A name I did not expect to hear again. Least of all from the mouth of an old friend. Friend. Yes. And more. Until you killed me. Have you come to dance on my bones, Balduran? Was slaying me not satisfaction enough? Satisfaction? No. You left me no choice. You had every choice. You were becoming illithid. I offered you merciful death. You chose to fight. And now you bring your thrall before me. How far has the great Balduran fallen?
Stillness. Ansur's consciousness hovers just above yours, searching, seeing.
Dear Ansur, enough! I gave you everything, Balduran, and you repaid me in slaughter. It is time I return the favor. Let my bones rise and the storms gather. Witness, Balduran. The final tempest has come. I am the heart of the gate. I am the one who roars. This time, you will not escape it.
Oh boy, that cutscene gets me every time. I have goosebumps right now, like I do every time I see it. You learned an amazing set of stuff there. The Emperor, who we originally thought was just some guardian in our dreams, has now been revealed as Balduran. He was transformed into an illithid, and Ansur realized that, found that out, and offered to kill him as a mercy to keep him from transforming into an illithid. And Balduran ended up killing him. The tale of it was lost as Balduran changed into an illithid and no one could find Ansur anymore. So it was kind of just given up that Ansur betrayed him and tried to kill him, and he fought back. That's not what happened at all. And another huge revelation here about the history behind the city. So now you can see everybody is brought into combat. Like I said, it didn't matter if you were hiding or not. Everybody's brought into combat, and there are water myrmidons that have been spawned. Okay, now the water myrmidons we didn't really examine all that much, but the water myrmidons are vulnerable to lightning and cold, which is why I have cold damage being added onto my charge-bound Warhammer. But they are under the wet condition, and their attacks can make you wet, which again is why you want your frontline characters to make sure that they are protected from that type of damage. And that's why we gave Astarion and the Paladin lightning resistance, because there's going to be some serious problems with that type of damage. Again, the resistance is here: immune to lightning, immune to poison, resistant to necrotic. He is not immune to cold, which is going to be useful for us since the Myrmidons are vulnerable to it. And we have all the other stuff that goes along with it. You're not going to be able to polymorph him very easily. He's got advantage on saving throws against spells and that sort of stuff. He's also not resistant, or not going to be able to be turned very easily because he's got advantage on the saving throws against it. But he is still undead, and he's, for the first half of this fight anyway, going to act like any other big melee character. So we're going to start this off. Now, here you can see his hitbox is massive. So I'm standing back here, but if I try and move away, I'm going to invoke provoke an attack of opportunity. I want that to happen with Astarion. He's displaced because of the cloak of displacement, so he's going to have disadvantage on this attack roll here. Okay, and he still managed to hit it. Great. Okay, now with Gale, I want him to be able to start landing his ice-based attacks, because again, the Myrmidons are, well, he's not wet there now in that situation anymore, and he's not going to be wet here anymore. No, he's not, because he moved out of that area. I forgot, they already went. So I'm going to just launch an ice attack against him so I can get chilled going, but I'm not going to be moving too far forward here with this. But I do want to get rid of the Myrmidons. What hiding does is gives me advantage on that attack. Even though I'm brought into combat, I'm still in hiding for that first attack, so I have a good chance to hit with it. And now, chilled and crusted with frost, maybe I can freeze him entirely on the next turn and deal with him that way.
No choice but to keep going.
Now for me, I'm just going to work on Ansur here. Now, in the state that I'm at, remember I've got permanent bless going right now. So I'm just going to start wailing on him with everything that I have and add in as many damage riders as I possibly can to go with it. Okay, might as well add in advantage on all future attacks by throwing in Howl of the Dead. I could add in radiant damage instead, which is probably a better damage rider to go in. I could add in Divine Sense for the next 2 turns as well, but I think I'm going to save that until after the first Nova happens. Okay, so now my damage riders here, quite a few. Acid, fire, lightning, cold, radiant, in addition to the bludgeoning. So let's see if we can just start going to town here. Hey, I am going to throw in Luck of the Far Realms. I'm going to throw a Divine Smite on crit. And that took off 90 of his hit points on the first attack. After that first attack, my ability to hit is going to go down. So after my first round with the Paladin, I took 141 hit points off of him. A very good round to see. Hopefully Ansur goes after my Paladin. Okay, oh, he rolled a 25. Come on, man. Okay, so I will do that. He's gonna fly off somewhere. We'll see where he lands. Okay, so he landed back here. It's not the worst place for him to be. And the reason for that is because of what Shadowheart's going to do. Oh, what happened? Great. Can't do it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Why did that get unequipped? I don't know. I'm sure I did something. So we're definitely going to bring out spiritual weapon here. And again, drop a halberd. Make sure I'm not moving when I do this. Or not a halberd, a maul. Okay, so that did not work how I wanted it to work. So we're going to be very careful on our next turn. Okay, so for Astarion here, now he finally gets his chance to attack. So for Astarion, we're going to start using our arrows of dragon slaying. Okay, target's outside normal range. We're not going to get in there. And I can't use these with extra attack, I don't think. Oh, I can. That's not going to matter much. Please go after my Paladin. Wow. You're actually hitting against a 24 armor class. Okay, well, things are not going as well as I want them to go. To say the least. So this one here is the one that's chilled because I'm threatened. But if I move and he does that slam attack, it could knock me prone and I could end it entirely. He could end my turn entirely here. So I think I'm going to try and find a place to cast this. I don't want to. I want to get them both. But I don't think I'm going to have the opportunity. Yeah, that was going to oh, that was a bad strategical mistake. I should have used Misty Step to get out of there. We need to save his Misty Step again. That was my mistake. Now I'm going to move out of here and see if the Myrmidon can hit me in my 24 armor class. Again. So well, thank you for missing.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
I don't want to drop him below 50% hit points until I'm kind of repositioned a little bit. Okay, so never mind. He did it anyway. Okay, so this is the start of his supernova ability. Okay, when he gets down to, I thought it triggered at 50%. It's close to 50%, it looks like. He will trigger this ability. And now what you need to do is for the next 2 turns, he's going to be hoarding energy. So his next turn here, he's not going to do anything. But he's also resistant to almost every damage, or to every damage type. So it's not really worth focusing on trying to do more damage to him as much as it is clearing out the Myrmidons during this time. Now, I don't care if I sacrifice my any summons or anything like that I have. If the Myrmidons are caught out in the open, they're going to get killed by this. Well, they're going to have a lot of damage done to them. So I'm just going to move in here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna be able to move anywhere here.
Talk to me.
Okay, so we want to make sure that we are in cover here. And that means being hidden behind these things. Okay, now that I'm here, this Myrmidon is going to be a problem. Because it's not within range. And you can see the way you know if you're in cover or not is the Ansur's ire condition will disappear. So see, Shadowheart does not have it. So right now, everybody else is targeted for this, including this Myrmidon. However, that Myrmidon is going to move and try and attack somebody probably on his next turn. And that may put him behind cover, so we do want to focus damage on them if we can. However, we're going to cast Darkness here. And now Astarion is just going to move. Okay, he's going to dash. He's going to move behind cover here.
A better position.
Okay, so he's not in cover there. There he is. Okay, and this can get a little worrisome with the positioning of everybody, getting them into cover. Okay, and now both Myrmidons are going to get a chance to hit here. The worst of all cases is if somebody gets knocked prone and can't move into cover. Okay, so now that Myrmidon's probably in cover. Oh, it's not. Okay, so that's good. So Gale, let's make sure we can get him into cover first. Okay, he's not in cover there. He's still not in cover there. This is going to be a problem. Okay, there he's in cover.
Into the fray. Still on my feet.
Okay, and now my Paladin again needs to move into cover.
At the ready.
Okay, and now everybody's outside of Ansur's ire. He's not, and he's not. So they're both going to get killed. So it doesn't matter where my attacks land at this point. And now you see what happens with the Stormheart Nova. If you are not in cover, you are going to take a massive amount of damage because of that. Okay. So what we need to do now is focus on beating Ansur down as much as we possibly can in the turns that we have remaining to us. So right now, again, remembering his poison immunity, his resistance to necrotic, and lightning immunity, we need to get in there with everybody we can and focus on him. We do need to take out the Water Myrmidon, but we're going to first move out here with Shadowheart. We're going to get as close as we can get here. And we're going to cast Darkness on Ansur. We're going to bring out another spiritual weapon. And now you see the second phase here. So every turn, Ansur is going to summon these AoE lightning strikes. And there's going to be 5 of them every turn. 2, 3, 4, and the 5th is overlapping back here. And those are going to detonate at the next turn. Okay, so now you have to maneuver your way around the battlefield to get out of those lightning strikes, while at the same time trying to get damage on Ansur. Okay, so we're going to dash with Astarion here, and we're going to get Astarion up close and personal. And we're missing 80%ers. And now we have advantage on the attacks because Ansur's blinded. Okay, so Gale. Where can we Misty Step down to? And again, we're going to get into the darkness here. Missed all 3.
So much for peace.
Where? Oh, that's my spiritual weapon? What? No, it's not. Where is my character? Wow. This is a weird bug here.
Have to keep going.
Whoops. Okay, so he went after Astarion. He's got disadvantage on those attacks, and now he's going to fly somewhere else. And now Shadowheart can move the darkness again. That's the great thing about Shar's staff there, Shar's spear. She can just cast darkness over and over and over again. And is Ansur threatened? He is. Now that's outside of range. He has the Eversight ring on. Oh, he's not going to be able to cast it. That's right. He's not going to be able to shoot into it. So, dash. Move right up next to him.
On my way.
We need to stay out of the AoE there. Should get sneak attack on this. Does.
One can't always be a gentleman.
Okay, so that did put Encrusted with Frost on him, so now he's vulnerable to that type of damage.
Step by step. I wonder if this is worth the cost.
And now the weirdest of all things happening here. I'm just going to move in here and continue my attacks. I'm not going to need advantage. So let's just get in here and see how much damage we can do. Outstanding.
What have you done? Ansur. I never thought I'd see him again. I was. Now, I am much, much more. But it seems you are more interested in my past. Such sentimentality. Very well. It's like I always told you. I was just like you. An adventurer who yearned for greatness. And in mortal terms, I achieved it. As captain of the Wandering Eye, I acquired enough gold to found Baldur's Gate. I stayed for a while to watch my city grow. But it was not enough. I grew restless again. The sea called to me, and I ran to her with open arms. Life at sea was not easy. Our last adventure was ruinous. My ship was destroyed. My crew lost. But my spirit was far from broken. I was determined to return in triumph once again. I heard of treasure in Moonrise. I strove to find it. What I found was an illithid colony, where I acquired a tadpole much like yours, and became a mind flayer, enthralled to the Elder Brain. It was Ansur who found me. Ansur who pulled me from the Brain's domination. Ansur who brought me home. He sought to cure me of my sickness, called on every healer he could find, nearly broke his spirit in the attempt. But he failed to understand. I wanted no healing. I was not sick. Even after he had exhausted all possibility of reversing my condition, he still clung to hope. I tried to convince him of my reality. I was on the cusp of greatness beyond my wildest dreams. But all he could see was a mind flayer. He came to me as I slept, a mercy killing in his mind. I saw the tears. I felt his grief. I had no choice but to kill him first. It was an act of self-preservation. Put simply, yes. And being alive even more so. Do not think that I am ignorant of what I have lost. I may not regret my actions, but I do regret that they were necessary. While the past is beyond my influence, the present is not. It is time we move on. 2 nether stones remain in the hands of the Chosen. We must find them before we confront the brain.
Okay, so we came out of that really well, actually, all things considered. It went fairly well. There were a couple of tactical mistakes that I made in there. And having Shadowheart start the whole thing off, being prone and not able to cast darkness, threw a bit of a kink in things. But for the most part, it went fairly well. He only got off 1 round of the Nova. Now, here's what I did not address is the way to get the achievement. There's an achievement here that is based upon when you kill Ansur. And you have to knock him out of the sky. Now, the only time that you can attack him when he is in the sky is when he is gathering his power for his Nova Strike. And then you have a free turn to be able to attack him, but he's resistant and or immune to almost every damage type. So what you do is you get him down, and you saw that my last attack on him with my Paladin, I think he had 17 hit points left or something like that. With your last attack, you can get him down to hopefully somewhere around 10 or so hit points. Because remember, he's going to be in the sky, which means you can't attack him with melee weapons. You have to use ranged spells and or physical damage attacks, so bows. And those don't do nearly as much damage as some of your melee weapons do. So you get him down to a low amount of hit points, and then you just wait. You cast darkness on him, you stand in the darkness, and you wait for him to attack you round after round. Eventually, after about 3 or 4 more rounds, he will do that gathering power again, and he will launch himself up into the sky, and that is your opportunity. Now, 2 things that go along with that. 1, when he's in the sky, he's not able to be blinded, which means that he's much, much harder to hit because he has a 19 armor class. So you are going to be getting 30, 40, at the most maybe 50% chances to hit with some of your ranged spells or weapons. So you're taking a big chance when you do this, is kind of what I'm saying, because you are standing in the eye of the storm when you are doing it and your cover has been blown up. You can see there's no cover left on the map until you get over behind here, or if you make your way down here through this area and you hug the walls. It's an all or nothing type of thing, kind of, if you're doing it. Not saying he's going to one-shot you, but it will more than likely happen to half of your party. So it's not something I was going to do here. I'm not going to do it in my Bard live stream either. But if you've got a save that you've made right before this fight starts, go ahead and try it. See if you can manage it. It's kind of like the anti-Ethel fight. You get him down to a certain amount of hit points, and then she kind of gives up to you. Here, you just get him down to a low number of hit points and try and finish him off while he's in the air. And it's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking. So now you're not going to find anything on any of the Myrmidon corpses. You don't have to worry about those, but you can search Ansur here. You're going to find a note here, and this is from Balduran to him, telling him that he doesn't need a cure. He's not looking for a cure. He is asking Ansur to stop looking for a cure, and that leads into the ending that you saw. The next thing that you're going to get here is Balduran's Giant Slayer. This is a great sword that there is no additional damage. The acid damage and fire damage you're seeing are coming from equipment that I'm wearing right now. So there's no additional damage riders that come along with it. It has the Giant Slayer trait though. So on a hit, double the damage from your strength modifier. And that's just all the time. Okay, so your damage rider here is doubling the damage from your strength. And that's just straight up every time. So this is a great weapon to utilize if you're focusing on elixirs of Hill Giant Strength or elixirs of Cloud Giant Strength. You pair those with a 21 or a 27 Strength. You pair that with Great Weapon Master all in. And then where you're given advantage on attack rolls against large, huge, or gargantuan creatures, plus the +3 to hit, and the +3 to damage that goes along with it. It can deal out a lot of damage, even without any additional damage riders. The advantage lets you hit large, huge, or gargantuan creatures a lot easier. And a lot of your encounters you're going to have with certain types of enemies here, they're all going to be large, huge, or gargantuan. So all of your Steel Watchers are huge. Your gear in the fight with Raphael is huge as well. Or large, I mean. So there's a lot of enemies here that you're going to be able to get advantage with, even if you don't have it. The other thing that this allows you to do is, as a class action, you can giant form. So once per short rest, you are able to enlarge. It's casting the spell enlarge, basically, to double your size. You're going to get an additional 1d6 damage to all of your weapon attacks, and that stacks with the double strength modifier damage that goes in with it. You're going to gain 27 hit points, and you gain advantage on strength checks and saving throws. So if you're using this with weapon actions, such as pushing attack and that sort of stuff, you're going to have a huge advantage utilizing this weapon to do it. The last thing that it comes with is a proficiency unlock, and that's Topple the Big Folk. So you deal damage equal to your proficiency bonus. That stacks on top of the double damage from your strength modifier earlier. And then on a hit, large, huge, or gargantuan creatures take an additional 2d6 bludgeoning damage, which is strange for a greatsword, and they must succeed on a saving throw or fall prone. So this allows you to not only add extra damage riders, this is again once per short rest, but also mixes damage types. So you're not necessarily doing just slashing, you're doing a combination of slashing and bludgeoning damage, which certain enemies may be resistant and or vulnerable to either of those types. So it's a great two-handed legendary weapon for your two-handed strength-based melee builds to use. I am not going to be utilizing that. The way that I have focused out my builds here are not based around strength. So I can, however, take this weapon and bind it, and then it's going to be using my charisma modifier to hit, but since my strength is a dump stat, it's not going to be gaining the additional benefits of having double damage. Now I could throw an elixir on top of that, and in that case I would be gaining all of the benefits of this. What I'm going to be doing though is losing my armor class bonuses, because right now I'm gaining the +2 from the shield here. So if I swap this out, you can see right now 16 to 37 damage. If I swap this out, my armor class drops to 22, and now I'm 10 to 23. If I bind this weapon, it goes up slightly, 14 to 27, so I gained a D4 on it. However, still not what the Charge-Bound Warhammer was doing. I can add another D4 with elemental damage onto it. And then, however, if I take an elixir of Hill Giant Strength on top of that, I'm not going to do it right now, but if I do, that's going to up my strength to 21. That's going to give me then a +5 modifier to my strength. And then I would be adding +10 damage. And that's where this thing would really come into play, is when I do that. So there are both pros and cons for me utilizing this. You're going to see me utilizing it for certain encounters, which I'm going to use in conjunction not with Hill Giant Strength, but with Cloud Giant Strength. And you will see the damage that can wreak, especially against large, huge, and gargantuan creatures, which is where I'm going to concentrate on using it. There is one particular encounter where it's going to be incredibly useful for me. And you'll see the Nova burst damage that a Paladin can put out with that against a particular type of enemy. So down here, I don't need to go exploring off to the sides. There's nothing over here on either side for me to pick up. So I can head on through here and out the double iron doors. And now you can see where this put me. It put me back up here at the top of Worm's Rock Prison. We just came through here. That's where we entered his lair. So now we can walk back out through the prison. And head out.
Let's rehearse this one. Are they going to arrest us? Pretend I'm a fifth.
Okay, so all in all, not a bad encounter there. Went fairly well. Made some mistakes, but they weren't insurmountable. So now if we take a look at our map here, you can see that we've explored all of these outside areas. If we look at our quest lines here, there's nothing that's really outstanding for us to do here. All of these things are taking place in the city of Baldur's Gate itself, either the lower city or the upper city. And the only thing that I believe that we have left, and I want to go check this out before I want to verify this, because I honestly can't remember. Yeah, it's still open. This room in Sharess's Caress, we have not gone in. We're holding off on that for something later, because it's a once per long rest thing, and we don't want to get into it right now. So we're going to head up.
Let's rehearse this one more time.
To Worm's Rock again.
And tell me what you were doing in the house.
Now, nothing here in Rivington or Worm's Rock Crossing or the fortress is going to be off limits. So you can travel back here anytime that you want from the lower city. And here is our entrance to the lower city. Now, the lower city always takes a bit to load. Once you're in the city of Baldur's Gate itself, this is where performance issues used to be a really, really big thing. I haven't experienced performance issues here in the lower city, but it does take a long time to load coming in here because there's so much that is going on here. So what we just saw is the Devilish Ox quest completed. We helped him into the city. He thanked us for it, and he gave us the Shapeshifter's Boon Ring. So while shapeshifting or disguising yourself, you gain 1d4 bonus to all checks. Okay, this is all skill checks. This ring is incredibly useful, because all we have to do is disguise self on us, which we have unlimited casts of because of the deluxe edition of the game that we bought. And now we have an additional 1d4 bonus to all checks that we're going to make. If you are going up against a very tough conversation that has a high DC, a lockpick that has a high DC, a religion, investigation, arcana check, something like that that has a really high DC, all you have to do is disguise self before you go into it, equip this ring, and you're going to gain a 1d4 additional bonus. Now, you can acquire this ring all the way back in Act 1. If you tune into the Honor Mode playthrough, you are going to see us do that next Saturday, and using a trick to do it, where you can acquire this all the way back then. So it makes Honor Mode a lot easier to pass a bunch of checks, but it also makes Act 3 a lot easier as well. There's a lot of locks and skill checks here that are 25 plus. And having this additional 1d4 bonus is incredibly useful. So this is why you definitely want to help the Ox throughout Act 1 and Act 2, and then finish it off here to be able to get this ring. Okay, but it is something that we're going to kind of hold in reserve, because again, we have unlimited shape-shifting from our Mask of the Shapeshifter helmet. So at this point, you can just walk around completely shapeshifted all the time if you want. And always have this ring equipped. And that way you can automatically be prepared for all of these things. Okay. Now remember, that's not going to go in as a permanent buff. It's only when you're wearing the ring. So if you're going in to do things, make sure you have it equipped and you're prepared for it before you go in and do it. So now the first thing that you do is make sure that the Basilisk Gate waypoint is unlocked, because again, we can now travel wherever we want between Wyrm's Crossing and the city. You can see the city here. It's huge. It's massive. And you have a lot of quest lines that are advancing or culminating here in the lower city. And there is just so much to do here in the lower city. Continuing on into the upper city, and obviously is going to be finishing off a bunch of your other major quests and that sort of stuff. But there's a lot to do here in the lower city. So make sure that you have the waypoint locked in. Now here, set a gallows. That you know that Counsellor Florrick was set up to be executed here. And one of the first things that is available to you here is this area, which leads you into the Flaming Fisk headquarters. And you can pick up a quest here as well. Okay, so these are the barracks. You can talk to other people that are out here.
If you're here to report something, don't bother. The Fist don't give a damn.
It doesn't really... you're not going to have a whole lot of conversations about anything.
About time. The Manip assured me a builder would come around a 10-day ago, and hold it. You're not the builder. Which means I've got no use for you. I need someone with a little more know-how. Hooligans at the Mermaid have been using my shutters for target practice. And that's not the half of it. I've had to replace the same window 3 times now, not to mention the mess they've made of my front door. Now either you learn to fix my broken shutters, or you wag your tongue elsewhere.
Okay. So the Flaming Fist seem to be a little distracted, or something like that. Ow. And heading in here, you can see even more evidence of that.
No. How many times do I need to say it? You sent word about a lead, said that I should come see you about it.
Of course, madam. Let me just... Forgive me, why are you here?
Is this some kind of sick joke? Do you have any idea what I've been through these past few days? My daughter Vanra, my little girl, she's missing. This stupid, useless Fist said she had a lead, but she must have been stuck in Dream Mist or something.
Madam, tell me. You said... she was... taken from a tavern?
Yes. The blushing mermaid down by the docks. I told you 100 times. Why aren't you listening?
Excuse me, citizen, but if this is a criminal matter, it's my business, not yours. Now, madam, if you'll just tell me why you're here, I'll take down the details.
What is happening? I feel like I'm going mad. You will? Thank you. I haven't slept or eaten since she disappeared. I'm terrified something has happened to her. Her name is Vanra. She's 7 years old and has red hair, like me. We were in the Blushing Mermaid when she was taken. Just up by the docks. No, unless you count a couple of old drinking mates at the next table. But they'd be no help. They barely remember their own names. I was sober though. I swear. I stop in the maid for a drink sometimes. But it was only a quick one. Of course. The front of house, Bosun Gannet was there, and the owner of the Blushing Mermaid, Captain Grizzly. Neither lifted a finger to help me look. It was awful. Thank you. I'll head home. Can't stumbling around these idiots any longer. Come find me the moment you hear anything.
Okay, the Arcana check there would reveal that the Blaze here, the commander of the Flaming Fist headquarters, has a tadpole, and you are being, and her memory is being affected by all of that.
Commander Portier, acting marshal of the Fist. If you have a crime to report, please wait outside. We're currently at capacity.
Okay, now we have some other options here, and one of them is the prison entrance. We can enter into here. You can have a conversation with the cook, but there's nothing that they're going to tell you. The back door here is they're gonna become hostile if you go down there. However, you can go to the prison entrance.
Better not be cursed.
And down here, you need to watch your step down here because, again, everything is marked as steel.
Quiet day, mostly. Don't go spoiling it.
And there is a steel watcher down here, so you can quickly get into trouble.
Don't go looking for trouble.
Okay. Here is our rat named Skittle. Okay, and there are a couple of ways to do this.
Hello, hello, and all that.
Okay. So, back here in this area, you can break through the barricade and enter in here to do that. That would still mean that you're in here. Now you can get arrested and thrown into here if you would like.
Tread lightly.
Okay, if you watch the detection cones here, you can see how they adjust. However,
looking ahead,
and you can pick your way in.
way forward. Seems like a good moment to talk.
You can just click on Skittle, though. Okay, now for this, I need to have.
Time to dally.
I think I've been using Speak with Animals potions here, right?
I should speak up.
A new client? What a thrill. For you? Ratterily? Some call me the Great Collector. Others, the Merchant of Mysteries. But you, my friend, You can call me Skittle. Step up and marvel at the spectacular wonders on offer. Indeed, my mirthful mate. Care to take a squeak at my fun ratstical wares? My enterprise is a more covert sort. I do my dealings in squeakret.
Oh, the puns are getting bad.
The prison's pipes are a veritable maze of cracks and crannies. What a rat finds, a rat keeps. Captives have wants and needs, my plentiful patron. It is my pleasure, nay, my duty, to fulfill them.
Okay, so if you have Speak with Animals, you are able to trade with Skittle. Now, Skittle has two very important things here. The first is an elixir of universal resistance. You gain resistance to all damage for 10 turns. These are incredibly useful, and you can reset these, just like every other vendor inventory, and it will come back. So you can stock up on these. Now, they're expensive, okay? So at 320 a piece, it can quickly get out of hand. So this is one of those vendors where you want to, if you intend to stock up on these for the major boss fights, this would be a time to do the vendor trick, respec to level 1, come back here, donate 400 gold, buy one, level up, buy one, level up, buy one, etc. Because you're going to end up spending a ton of gold on these. But they are extraordinarily useful. You're going to have a random set from the scroll pool that it's going to bring up. And then you're going to have the Counting House safe number 2 key. There is a building, coincidentally called the Counting House, that has a bunch of safes in it. And there are, I think, 3 different, you have safes, you have vaults, and you have, I think, high security vaults. And I believe there's 4 of each type or something like that. So there are a bunch of keys hidden around the city. There might actually be more than that. I'm trying to remember if there might actually be 8 of each. So there are 20, up to 24 keys or something like that scattered in various places around the city that you can go find, and that will allow you access to those rooms without having to lockpick your way in. The high security vaults have extraordinarily, they're like roll nat 20 type of DCs for lockpicking and that sort of stuff. The vaults and the safes you can get into easier, but just buying these keys or finding these keys around the map is a way to avoid all of that. Okay, so pick these up whenever you see them. And the elixirs of universal resistances. So what I'm going to do is, off stream, I am going to come back here. I am going to respec, raise his, and my cat is on the stand next to the TV, pawing at the rat in the corner over here. I guess his instincts are just taking over at this point. Sorry, that's classic. I'm going to have to turn that off before he gets a little bit too rambunctious about that. But off screen, I am going to raise my attitude with him, and I'm going to stock up on those potions and buy that key. So that brings us to a good point to end the stream. Yeah, he is, Dave. He's just doing what cats do. So it brings us to a good point to end the stream. I'm going to do a couple things off stream, but really not going to be doing any more exploring or anything like that. The lower city is chock full of content. There's a lot to do here. You don't have to do most of it in any particular order. You can move around and pick up side quests in addition to the main quests as you see fit. There are some time-sensitive things here that we will be exploring at the start of next stream so that we know what those are and how to do them and what the triggers are for them. So, as always, thank you everyone for being here today. Without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.